Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is your friend Cartman. Today I got some awesome replays to share with you guys from the clan capital. But before we get into that, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, guys, and smash that like button for me. Your support is greatly appreciated. All right, guys, let's hop right over here to the clan capital. As you can see, we got 1,392 raid medals from this last raid weekend. We did stay in champions. One, we didn't have very many attacks, so we didn't really move up. We went actually down 19 trophies, but we had some decent attacks. I got 30K on my main, several accounts over 25K, so not a bad raid weekend for myself. But we're going to be taking a look right here at number 12, Mod Warriors. 19 attacks to take down this district, guys, and we took it down with one army. And here is that army base that we're going to be using, guys. 3 super dragons, 7 rocket loons, and the 3 graveyard spells. Let's jump right into that first replay. Alright, guys, first up, we're actually going to be starting with Barbarian Camp. And yes, we two-shot it using these super dragons, guys. What an awesome attack. We're going to start out on the bottom left-hand side down here at 6 o'clock. We got a couple rocket loons coming in. We've got a minion horde to clean out these trash buildings. And then we're going to start bringing in a few of our battle rams after this bomb tower goes down, because we want to try to get these walls opened up toward that air defense. We want to clear out those buildings so the deployment zone opens up all along this left-hand side. Then we're going to have some flexibility with where we send our super dragons for the push into the base. I use my lightning to try to finish off the air defense. It doesn't go down. So we're going to go ahead and place our graveyard spells. We got one along the first air bombs. We got another one on the right-hand side of the district hall, and we're holding on to that last one that we're going to place around that rocket artillery. We're going to start bringing in a few more packs of our rocket loons, and once these air skellies start popping, we're going to bring in our super dragons. We bring them in nice and slow. We want to make sure we have tanking as much as possible so they take as little damage as we can, and then you can maximize the value. Now, there's a lot of defense in here. We've got both those rocket artilleries. We actually got the first one down, but we still have another rocket artillery firing in here. We've got the air bombs coming in. So we've taken out a nice chunk of the base here, but we've taken a lot of damage. Our super dragons are only going to be able to get us close to the 30% mark here on that first hit. There's just too much splash for them to get much more value. And you can see we still have that rocket artillery. We've got a mega hidden Teslas popped there, and we have several air bombs still left in this base. So we still have quite a few air targeting defenses. So there's going to be trouble there. Now, in this second hit, we're going to use our graveyard spells here in the opening part of the attack. We don't want to put them on the backside because we need this tanking right away, especially around this rocket artillery. So you can see we placed one of the graveyards around the rocket artillery, the other 2 to the right. And we're going to start bringing in a few of our rocket loons to start spawning these air skellies. Once we get 3 or 4 rocket loon packs in, we get a lot of air skellies developing. And now it's time to start bringing in our super dragons. We want to make sure we get the air bombs on the left-hand side down with our first super dragon. And the next super dragon's main target is to get to this rocket artillery as soon as possible. And you can see we have air skellies literally surrounding our super dragon that is in the core, so it's well protected. Our super dragon on the left is taking a lot of damage moving up toward that air bombs, but you can see our super dragon in the middle is so protected. We have so many air skeletons around that super dragon. Nothing is going to be able to target it. Now we're going to bring in our minion horde on the right hand side of the base there, close to like 2 o'clock. We want to get those trash buildings down, have a little tanking toward that air defense so we can bring in our last super dragon right there on that corner. And now it's going to be up to the air skeletons to tank for our super dragons. And our super dragons are doing a nice job burning through these defenses. They still have relatively high HP at this point. And we have a ton of air skellies taking out trash buildings, tanking very nicely. We do have that rapid rockets there. We still have that hidden mega Tesla to burn through and that spear thrower. But as you can see, guys, our super dragons, we have 2 of them up. They are well protected. And that is an awesome 3-star to start things out on Barbarian Camp. Yeah, boy, we'll take those all day. All right, guys, next up, we're going to be going back in order. We're going to start with Golem Quarry. And again, another nice two-shot. We're going to start with our battle rams. We want to send them in first before we have any graveyard spells down because I don't want to spawn ground skeletons. I only want to spawn air skellies to help tank for my super dragons. We're going to open up a few walls here. Once those battle rams have died out, now we're going to place our graveyard spells. And we're going to just place them in this first little quadrant on the left-hand side right here, along that blast bow and the defenses around it. You can see we don't really place the graveyard spells around the other rocket artilleries or blast bows because we want to spawn as many air skellies in front of our super dragons. So we've got our rocket loons coming in, we've got air skellies spawning, the blast bows being targeted by all these air skellies, and now we can bring in our 3 super dragons. We've spread them out, and we just want to clear out this opening section of the base here. We can develop tanking later on toward those defenses on the backside, so I don't really need to distract them right now. And you can see we've gotten really nice value here, up over the 50% mark. We've taken out all these defenses in this opening section, even made it to this rocket artillery and this air bombs, and we're actually going to be able to get that rocket artillery down. We don't get the air bombs, but we did a ton of damage, 60% in that opener. Now in this next hit, we're going to go ahead and use our battle rams. We want to open up these deployment areas as quickly as possible. Now once the battle rams have been used, our troops have died out. Now we're going to place our next 3 graveyard spells. So we maximize these air skellies. And here we're going to target those main splash defenses and make sure we have tanking for our super dragons as they come in. Spread out our rocket loons we want to take out and target as many air targeting defenses along the way. And you can see right here how many air skellies we are starting to pop here in the core. We have tons of tanking developing. We have 1 super dragon working there on the right hand side. We're going to place another super dragon now on the left to start moving toward that rocket artillery, and 1 even further left than that. So we have all 3 super dragons working close to full health. Over 90% of the base is taken out, guys. And that is another dominating 2-hit triple using the Super Dragon Graveyard attack. It is sheer power right there, guys. As long as you can tank for those Super Dragons, they're unstoppable. Next up, we're going to be going to Skeleton Park, guys. Another nice 2-hit triple here. You can see close to 10k capital gold available. Again, we're going to use our battle rams early. We want to open up some of these deployment areas, let those troops die out, and then we'll place our graveyard spells. Now in this first section, we're just going to concentrate on the right-hand side of this little river that goes through the middle of the map. And so we're going to place our graveyard spells. Our first one around this minion hive, and the second one to the right of it, really close around that mountain area. And now we're going to start bringing in our rocket loons. I like to bring in 3, maybe 4 packs of rocket loons before we bring in our first super dragon. Make sure those air skeletons start spawning. Make sure you get a few air targeting defenses down, and just let this first super dragon work here. We have the tanking developing. Now we can bring in our second super dragon on the right, kind of to funnel everything here into the core. We want to clear out this main core of the base and really gut it out, so our next hit we have a clear channel for our super dragons to go down. We don't want them to spread out. So now we're going to place our last graveyard spell. Go ahead and bring in, we've got 1 more rocket loon that we can bring in here to create a little more air skellies in a minute. But right now those super dragons are doing a great job burning through these defenses. And you can see we've already gotten some great value. We still have a super dragon left to deploy. We're going to bring in that next rocket loon to target this air defense. And now bring in our last super dragon to make sure we funnel everything here into the core. Try to take out as much of this trash here in the core as we can. Now we've got air skellies spawning to help tank. And you can see, guys, we are over the 50% mark, and we are doing work with these super dragons. They have cleaned out a ton of buildings here. Now we have so many air skellies, we are going to be able to take down a few trash buildings, get a little more value here out in the core, and that will be really nice for our next hit. That minion hive's doing a little bit of work, but we're still going to be able to push through this spear thrower, let these air skellies go over, work on some of these trash buildings, but that's about the max value we can get right there. 57%, that's always, when you're over 50% on the first hit, that's always a good thing. Now we're coming in for our second hit, guys. Again, we're going to use our battle rams, try to open up some of these walls, make sure our deployment zone is going to be opened up. We have a few ground skellies spawning, that's okay. Now we're going to place our graveyard spell in that top left-hand side toward that giant cannon. We've got a rocket loon coming in. We're going to send another one to assist before we send in our super dragon. There's not a lot of air targeting defenses over there, so we should be able to get some nice value. That one air defense will send in a rocket loon to take it out. And now around this next rocket artillery, we'll sandwich it with both of our graveyard spells. And this air defense that is on the bottom left toward like 830, we're just going to let the rocket loons come in here toward that area along with these air skellies. There's a ton of distractions. And then we'll send one super dragon in from the backside, guys. And just look at all these troops coming in from every direction. We have a two-prong attack with all of these air skellies. The super dragons are doing work, burning through these defenses. And yes, it is another devastating two-hit triple. Maybe this is the only army we need for Clan Capital. I mean, I don't know. It's looking pretty strong so far. All right, guys, next up, we're going to be going to Balloon Lagoon. Now, this is not a district I usually use this attack with. I don't usually like to attack where there are single infernos with this attack strategy, just because if the inferno does lock onto your super dragon, you are in trouble. We've got our battle rams, as always, coming in here, opening up some walls, trying to help with that deployment area just a little bit. Now we're going to place our graveyard spells. We're going to place one on this rocket artillery on the left. We're going to place another one along this single inferno and one on the rocket artillery on the right-hand side in that peninsula area and start bringing in our rocket loons. Get a super dragon in here early behind on this one. Another rocket loon coming in to make sure we get this rocket artillery down. And we're just going to concentrate on taking down this section of the base from that first rocket artillery and channeling to the right down this peninsula. So we got tons of air skellies spawning in that area toward that peninsula. We're going to bring in as many rocket loons as we can over the water to help provide additional tanking, take out some of these air targeting defenses. We got one super dragon along with some minions to tank coming in on the right-hand side of the peninsula just to push everything. And again, it's pathing. You know, we want to clear out this area, so for our next hit, we have a clear channel to direct these super dragons and our tanking along. Now it's easier to protect your super dragons and predict where they're going to go. Now our super dragon's going to be able to get a little more value right here until this rocket artillery locks on and a mega hidden Tesla pops. But that's okay. We're going to get some nice value out of it. Take down another spear thrower and set up for our next attack. Now, only 42% on this one, so a little lower than what we've seen. But still, we have nice pathing set up. And so we're going to bring in our battle rams from up here at the 12 o'clock side. And we are going to attack from right to left in that area. And then let our graveyard spells actually come in from the side to help tank as well. So we're going to get our graveyard spells down, start bringing in our rocket loons from up here toward this 11 o'clock spot. We've got one of our super dragons coming in right now. I mean, he's just totally protected. There's not much value he can even get with all his tanking in front of him. And now we've got air skeletons spawning all the way around all these key defenses. We're going to be collapsing in from every direction here as much as possible. Come in here and make sure we get this rocket artillery and this single inferno down in the core. That's really the most important section we've got to get down right here. And you can see we still have all of our super dragons up and we're at 80%. And there's a ton of trash buildings on the backhand side. So we've already made it through the core of the base. We have that one mega hidden Tesla, a couple spear throwers, but really nothing of concern left. And look how many air skellies These defenses don't stand a chance when you have that many air skellies up. They don't even see the super dragons, and we're just going to melt through another base for another 2-hit triple, guys. That is 4 in a row to open up this raid. All right, guys, next up, we're going to be going to Builder's Workshop. This is one of my favorite districts to attack with this attack strategy. You've probably seen it a number of times before if you've watched this channel. We're going to use our battle ramps to open up things on the right-hand side, open up a little bit of a wall right there on the left. But our main focus is going to be on the right-hand side of these lakes or ponds that go through the middle of this district here. We're going to place our first graveyard spell and start bringing in our rocket loons. It's kind of an odd layout here. You have a pretty valuable core there on the left-hand side, and our goal is really to sweep around this right-hand side up toward 12 o'clock and then go back toward 9 o'clock. We want to kind of clear out that L-shaped area. So we got our tanking set up for our first super dragon. We're going to take down that air bombs. Coming in here, we got some air defenses on the backhand side. So we want to bring in some additional rocket loons here to help take down those air defenses as quickly as possible. We got 2 of our super dragons in, 2 graveyards down, and we're doing a nice job clearing out the right-hand side of the base. These super dragons are tanked for and protected. And we have that blast bow up there at 1030. That is definitely a high target defense for us. Just look how nice those super dragons roast through these defenses in these little squares. I love seeing those defenses in those squares like that because I can get massive value with these super dragons like that. Now we've got the next graveyard spell on that blast bow. That's our next area we want to take down. We've got a rocket loon coming in and try to take out this spear thrower, which it does. And we still have a super dragon to deploy. So we're going to deploy it right on this blast bow, make sure it gets taken out as quickly as possible. And it'll also allow this super dragon to path more towards that 9 o'clock area where it can clear out the giant cannon and help clear out that whole core. And again, we've got another one of these squares with defenses in it, the Mega Hidden Tesla Pops. And our super dragon comes up here and is going to be able to roast everything out just so easily. And you can see, guys, over 50% already. We've cleared out everything except this one square of defenses really here. And so that's going to set up really nicely for our next attack. We have a little tanking. As Super Dragon's full health, we're going to be able to get down that rapid rocket. We'll be able to take down a cannon. Not that much value because there's just so many defenses targeting that Super Dragon, but we got 59%, so that's still really nice. Now we're going to come in here for our final hit on this one, and we just have this concentrated area left, which is so nice. We've got our, I got a couple barbarians actually to funnel some trash down there on the bottom left this time instead of battle rams because I don't need the battle rams at this point. And now we're going to place these graveyard spells in the core, and we're going to collapse in from every side with our rocket loons, targeting as many air targeting defenses as we can, whatever we can get to easily. We got an air defense here. We've got another air defense we're going to target here, and we want to get into these air bombs. And now we're going to bring in our 3 super dragons from all different areas and just look at the air skellies going into the core. We've got them on every side of this blast bow, plus these minion hordes that I've got in here. This base does not stand a chance. Look how many troops we have in the core. It is just devastated, and that is an overkill. All right, guys, it's time for Wizard Valley. Again, Wizard Valley is not a district I like using this attack strategy on typically because of the single infernos. Just you're asking for trouble when you have single infernos and only 3 super dragons. You can start losing super dragons really fast if something goes awry with your tanking. But nonetheless, we're going to give it a go. So we've used our battle rams, opened up these wall segments, and place our graveyard spells. Again, in this first area, we just want to open up and take out this first section of this peninsula. We got our rocket loons coming in, spawning air skellies in the core, taking out some air targeting defenses. We're going to bring in our super dragons here into the core while we have this tanking. Now, there's a lot of splash there in the core. We do have that single Inferno as well, and quite a few air defenses and spear throwers shooting in there. So we have a lot to get through. Unfortunately, some of our Super Dragons seem to get held up on these raid carts forever. And you can see right here, we've got the single Inferno locked on to our Super Dragon in the core, and it is going to go down incredibly fast, guys. We do not get that Inferno Tower taken out, and it takes down all of our Super Dragons. Thus, another example of why I do not typically use them on Wizard Valley. But here's our second part of the attack. Now we're going to use a couple Barbarians instead of Battle Rams to clear out some trash buildings on the left-hand side. And that's because we want to attack from the 9 o'clock corner toward 3 o'clock. So from left to right. So we're opening up this side so we can get a little different angle coming in here to do our attack. Get our graveyard spells down here in this opening core where we're going to be going. So we have tanking. And now we're going to start bringing in our rocket loons, start spawning some air skeletons, taking out these air targeting defenses. And we have a Super Dragon in working as well. No, pardon me. Now we got some more tanking coming in. We got another Super Dragon. And you can see in the core, we have so many air skeletons popping, guys. That's going to distract this single Inferno. And we're going to be able to come in here with the core, get our next Super Dragon in, and make sure we get the core taken out, get this single Inferno taken out. And now we can start concentrating on this last single Inferno on the left-hand side. That's really the main thing left. Unfortunately, we don't have that tanking in front of those Super Dragons, so it's already locked on. I do get the minion horde placed, but it's too late. It's already on one of my Super Dragons. They're going to get melted right away. Our next Super Dragon is going to be able to make it to the single Inferno as the minions tank. And the rest of the Super Dragon, or the other Super Dragon, is protected by these air skeletons. So we're going to be able to come over here, finish off this air defense and spear thrower, and then make our way to that Super Wizard Tower and get this district taken out in two, guys. And so that is an incredible start to this raid. At this point, I was 6 for 6 on 2-hit triples, all using this same attack strategy. Very, very nice. All right, guys, and next up we've got Dragon Cliffs. And yes, we did fail on this one to get the 2-hit triple, but the army did pretty well against this district. This is not usually an army I would use against Dragon Cliffs, so it's surprisingly overperformed here. We're going to get our first graveyard spell down in this right-hand corner, bring in a couple rocket loons, let those rocket loons work alongside these air skellies, see if we can take out this section of the base with a pretty minimal investment. We're going to use our battle rams here in a second. We want to open up a few more walls, try to get this deployment zone opened up. You can see we have a thick section of walls there. On the right, the battle ram's able to open that, so that'll be nice for a deployment zone to open up there to the right-hand side. Now we're going to go ahead and place our graveyard spells by this blast bow and another one in front of it because we have a lot of defenses in there. We have Super Dragons, we've got the blast bow, we got the single Inferno. We need as much tanking as we can. We've got the air skellies tanking, but we got that Super Dragon in early to target that first Super Dragon. Start working through here. We're going to bring in some more of our rocket loons kind of to the left of that Super Dragon so we can bring in some of our Super Dragons to the left-hand side as well because we want to work our way into the blast bow. Try to get to the single Inferno. Again, the single Inferno locks on, so we're going to be in trouble. We have both those single Infernos right there. They're going to roast two of the Super Dragons right away. We don't get the blast bow taken out, so that's disappointing. We do get 45% on this opening hit, so that was still nice. But you can tell just how much trouble those single Infernos give, especially with all the Super Dragons and the blast bow distracting. I got a pack of rocket loons on the top side there at 12 o'clock to clear out this little area. just get that part of the base taken out. Now we're going to go ahead and place our graveyard spells around these single infernos. We're going to try to provide as much tanking here as we can. I did take out the battle rams for a skelly barrel there to provide a little more tanking, try to get through this first super dragon. And now we've got our rocket loons coming in, trying to get down this next single inferno, trying to get the blast bow down as soon as possible while we have this tanking. And at this point, it was looking pretty good. I kind of liked the opening, how it was looking. We still had quite a bit of tanking in here. Our super dragons, we still had one to deploy. We were protecting them pretty well. There's a lot of splash to this next side with the super wizard tower, the air bombs, and then that next super dragon. And I think if the timing maybe had been a little better, maybe we could have gotten it down into, I thought for a second we might have a chance. But the super dragon on the top side is just too weak. It cannot take out that super dragon. Maybe if that super dragon was closer to full health and we got that super dragon down, we would have had a chance. But we still have a couple air defenses that are trouble for us along with the super dragon. And so it's going to be close, but just not quite here. We're going to take care of the super dragon with our super dragon, but the super dragon won't be able to finish off the rest of the base here. And it's going to be in the 85% range of destruction, which is still pretty good. We have one lone air skeleton there on the bottom right-hand side that was doing some work. We're just going to watch it float across the screen to its death. It was working very hard for us, but it's not going to be able to finish the base. So we're going to come in here. This is just a cleanup. Obviously, only 1,200 capital gold available. We're just going to breeze through these right here, send in our rocket loons, start spawning the air skellies, and there we have it. That's going to finish off this base. There's not much left here. Bringing in our super dragon. It's not really going to matter. Try to maximize as much. It is nice that Supercell gives us a 3 times bonus now of the troops that are left, so we did get almost an extra 700 capital gold. All right, guys, last up, we've got the Capital Peak. Now, this thing took me 4 attacks to get down with this army. This army is not something I recommend for the Capital Peak. This is a pretty maxed out Capital Peak as well. We're going to start bringing in some rocket loons. We want to get down this air bomb right here in the core of the base. And the plan here is to use our graveyard spells and rocket loons and our super dragons on this first attack. Try to clear out to the right-hand side. We want to clear out everything to the edge of this base, of this district, so that we can start working from right to left. You don't want to work straight toward the middle of this Capital Peak. There's going to be way too much splash damage on each side, and it's going to destroy these super dragons. So we're working our way toward the right-hand side. We got our graveyard spells down, bringing in our rocket loons, trying to take out these rapid rockets, these air targeting defenses. And again, we've got 2 single infernos. We've got a super dragon on defense that is maxed out. So we got things definitely against us here on this Capital Peak. But we've only used this one army thus far, so we're going to use it. Even though I think sneaky archers or something would have served a lot better on these opening hits here. You can see we're working our way along the right-hand side, trying to clear out as many of these buildings as we can, trying to get this deployment zone opened up. We almost do in this first hit, but we're going to have to use attack number 2 to get that deployment zone opened up all the way. Go ahead and place a graveyard spell on this rocket artillery and blast bow, start bringing in our rocket loons. And now you can see we're able to start moving our way towards opening that deployment zone all the way on the right-hand side, using our rocket loons and air skellies that come in here. And now we can bring our super dragon in and start getting that deployment zone opened up where we can bring things in from the top side soon. We got nice tanking starting for these super dragons. There's a lot of defenses here in the core to take care of. We're going to be able to muscle our way through this blast bow. Start working on this enemy super dragon as well, but we do have to deal with these nasty infernos that are in the core. You can see when they lock on to our super dragons, it is only a matter of seconds before that super dragon is roasted, guys. Both these super dragons in the core on the right are going down very, very quickly. And our last super dragon only gets a slight shot on the capital peak before it is taken out. All right, attack number 3. We still have a ton of base left. We have 8,000 capital gold. We still have this capital hall that's shooting to take care of. And we have these single infernos and all this splash in the core. We've got our graveyard spells down. Rocket loons coming in from every area trying to take out this first single inferno. Bring in our super dragons. We want to get this capital hall taken out. We have to get it taken out ASAP. We've got our tanking doing what it can, spreading our rocket loons around here. We're going to finally get this capital hall taken out. And you can just see the single infernos just do so much damage to your super dragons. Like once they lock on, it is just a done deal. So not the greatest value here. We still had over 4,500 left for our 4th hit to try to salvage this and finish off a strong raid. So we're going to bring in our tanking, got our graveyard spells down, try to spawn as many air skellies as possible to tank. We've got 8 rocket loons this time. We took out the 3 battle rams, subbed in a pack of rocket loons. We got rocket loons coming from every direction, trying to surround everything with these air skellies. Spread out our super dragons where the tanking is so they can come in and finish off some of these defenses, open up these deployment areas, use our minions for additional tanking just like air skellies on the bottom side. And you can see, never in doubt here on this 4th and final attack. We're going to get this taken out. And guys, we've completed the entire raid with one single army, every single district and the capital peak. I think for using one army, doing it in 19 hits, that is a pretty nice raid. All right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope you've enjoyed how powerful super dragons are. Give it a try. And until next time, crash on, my friends.